This is a step-by-step retirement plan for people who feel behind and don't know where to start. 57% of American workers say they're behind on retirement savings, not because they didn't care, but because nobody showed them how. There are 10 clear steps, and none of them require a finance degree. One of those steps, Step 7, could be worth tens of thousands of dollars most retirees never collect. Step 1. Figure out what retirement actually looks like for you. Before touching a single number, there's a question that most financial advisors skip right past. What does retirement actually look like for you? Not for your neighbor, not for some generic person in a TV commercial sitting on a beach. For you. This matters more than most people realize, because if someone doesn't know what they're building toward, they'll either save too little and feel the pinch later, or save too much while missing out on life today, and both of those are a problem. So here's a quick mental exercise. Picture retirement. Where are you living? Are you staying in the same house, or does moving somewhere smaller or somewhere warmer sound better? Are you traveling? Are you helping your kids or grandkids out financially? Are you starting a small business, doing some part-time work, or is the plan to stop working completely? These aren't fluffy questions. They directly affect the number someone needs to hit. But here's where it gets real. According to a 2023 AARP checklist, experts suggest writing down the top 5 retirement goals and being as specific as possible, not just travel, more like trip to Italy or national park road trip every year. That kind of specificity turns a vague dream into something that can actually be planned around. And it's worth knowing this: the median retirement age in the U.S. was 62 as of 2023, according to Guardian Life. But here's the catch: the earlier someone retires, the lower their Social Security benefit will be. So the when matters just as much as the what. This first step sounds simple, but most people skip it entirely and jump straight to the money. That's a mistake. Start with the vision. The numbers come second. Step 2. Get a clear picture of where things stand right now. Once there's a picture of what retirement looks like, the next step is an honest look at where things stand financially today. This is the part people avoid because it can feel uncomfortable. But here's the thing. Not knowing is way worse than knowing. You can't fix a problem you're pretending isn't there. So here's what to look at. First, income. How much is coming in every month? That includes salary, side income, rental income, everything. Second, expenses. How much is going out? Fixed stuff like rent or mortgage, car payments, insurance, and variable stuff like groceries, eating out, subscriptions. Most people are genuinely surprised when they actually add this up. Third, debts. What's owed and at what interest rate? According to a 2024 survey from Clever, about 63% of retirees carry some form of non-mortgage debt. The average? Around $15,393. That number follows people into retirement if they don't deal with it beforehand. Fourth, existing savings. Is there anything in a 401k, an IRA, a savings account? Even a small amount is a starting point. According to Vanguard's Retirement Planning Guide, understanding current financial status is critical because it reveals the gap between where someone is and where they need to be, and closing that gap is a lot easier when it's actually visible. Now, one important thing here: there's no judgment in this step. Whether someone has $500 saved or $500,000 saved, the goal is just to know the real number, because the next steps all build on top of it. Step 3. Understand how much is actually needed. Here's where a lot of people get overwhelmed. And honestly, that's because the internet loves to throw scary numbers around without any context. So let's break it down simply. There are a few general rules that financial experts use as rough guides. These aren't guarantees, but they give a starting point. The first one is the 80% rule. Most people need roughly 70 to 85% of their pre-retirement income each year once they stop working, according to Vanguard. That's because some expenses drop in retirement, like commuting costs and work clothes, but others go up, like healthcare. The second is the 25x rule. According to Guardian Life, a common guideline is to save 25 times the expected annual expenses. So if someone expects to spend $50,000 a year in retirement, the target is roughly $1.25 million in savings. The third is the 4% rule. This one says a person can withdraw about 4% of their retirement savings each year, and at that rate, the money should last around 30 years. It's not a guarantee, but it's a useful benchmark. Now, none of these rules are perfect. They're rough estimates. Healthcare costs alone can throw a number off significantly. According to Fidelity Investments, a 65-year-old who retired in 2024 can expect to spend close to $165,000 on healthcare throughout retirement, and that number doesn't include long-term care. More than 70% of Americans will need some form of long-term care at some point, according to Reader's Digest. But here's the important part. These numbers aren't meant to scare anyone. They're meant to make the target real. Once someone knows roughly what they're aiming for, they can start doing something about it. A retirement calculator. There are free ones from AARP, Vanguard, and Fidelity. Can take in real numbers and give a much more personalized estimate. That's the best place to start rather than trying to do the math in someone's head. Step 4. Know the retirement accounts available and actually use them. This is where a lot of people leave real money on the table, and it drives me crazy to see it happen. Most Americans have access to tax-advantaged retirement accounts. These accounts are basically the government saying, if you save for retirement here, we'll give you a tax break. But according to a 2024 report from the U.S. Government Accountability Office, about 85% of plan participants struggle to answer basic questions about their own 401k. That lack of knowledge costs people a lot. So here's the quick breakdown of the main options. The 401k. This is the most common employer-sponsored retirement account. Employees contribute a portion of their paycheck before taxes, which means the money grows tax-deferred until it's taken out in retirement. For 2025, the employee contribution limit is $23,500 according to Reader's Digest. But here's the part that matters most. Many employers match what employees put in, up to a certain percentage. That employer match is free money, not a metaphor. Actual free money. But according to a 2024 Vanguard study, only about 54% of employees contribute at or above their employer's matching rate. Nearly half are walking away from money that's just sitting there waiting to be claimed. The IRA, Individual Retirement Account. Anyone can open one of these, even without an employer plan. There are two main types. A traditional IRA lets someone contribute pre-tax money, get a potential tax deduction now, and pay taxes when they withdraw in retirement. A Roth IRA works the opposite way. Contributions go in after taxes, but the money grows tax-free, and qualified withdrawals in retirement are completely tax-free. For a lot of people, especially those who expect to be in a higher tax bracket later, a Roth IRA can be a really smart move. The SEP IRA, or Solo 401k. For self-employed people or freelancers, these accounts allow higher contribution limits and give people without a traditional employer a way to still save for retirement with tax advantages. Here's the key takeaway. The account type matters, but what matters even more is actually opening one and putting money in. Consistently. Step 5. Start contributing. Even if it's a small amount. This is the step where most people get stuck. They think they need to have everything figured out before they start. But that thinking is exactly what keeps people behind. Here's a stat that puts it in perspective. According to a CNBC and SurveyMonkey poll from 2024, 53% of Americans feel they're behind on retirement savings. But 70% of retirees say they wish they had started saving earlier. That gap between wishing and starting is the most expensive mistake people make. The math of compound growth rewards those who start early and punishes those who wait. A 25-year-old putting $200 a month into a retirement account will end up with more money at 65 than a 40-year-old putting in $400 a month, even though the 40-year-old contributed more total dollars. That's how compound interest works. Time is the biggest factor, not the amount. But, and this is important, It's never too late to start. Even if someone is in their 50s or 60s, starting now is always better than not starting. Those 50 and older can also take advantage of catch-up contributions in their 401k and IRA. For 2025, workers 50 and older can contribute an extra $7,500 to a 401k on top of the regular limit. The practical advice here: start with whatever is affordable. Even 1% of income is better than zero. Then, every time there's a raise or a bonus, increase contributions by 1%. Do that a few times and the savings rate climbs without it feeling painful. Automate it whenever possible. When the money comes out before it ever hits a checking account, it's a lot easier not to miss it. Step 6. Deal with debt before it follows into retirement. Here's something nobody wants to think about. Most people don't leave debt behind when they retire. They take it with them. According to that same clever survey from 2024, 63% of retirees carry non-mortgage debt. Credit cards, car loans, personal loans, all of it following them into the years when they have less income to handle it. That's a retirement plan killer, and it's avoidable. The strategy here is straightforward. Before retirement, focus hard on paying off high-interest debt first. Credit cards especially. Those interest rates are brutal and compound fast. Then work down to other loans. This doesn't mean retirement savings should stop while paying off debt. The general advice from most financial planners is to at least contribute enough to get the full employer 401k match while also paying down debt. That free match is worth it even while debt is being paid off. But carrying a $15,000 credit card balance into retirement, paying 20% plus interest on it, is like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. Getting rid of high-interest debt is one of the most powerful things someone can do to set their retirement up for success. Step 7. Understand Social Security and time. Social Security is a big deal. For a lot of retirees, it's one of the main sources of income, but most people don't know how much the timing of claiming affects how much they actually get. Here's the breakdown, straight from the Social Security Administration. Benefits can start as early as age 62, but claiming early comes with a permanent reduction. According to Vision Retirement, claiming at 62 instead of full retirement age can cut monthly benefits by approximately 30%. For someone whose full benefit is $1,183 a month, the average benefit in 2024, claiming at 62 means getting about $1,248 instead, a difference of $535 a month. Full retirement age is between 66 and 67 depending on birth year, according to Caring.com. Waiting until full retirement age means getting 100% of the benefit. But here's the really powerful part. Delaying past full retirement age increases benefits by about 8% per year, up until age 70. According to Trinity College's Retirement Guide, waiting until 70 instead of claiming at full retirement age increases benefits by 32%. And compared to claiming at 62, waiting until 70 results in a 76% increase in monthly benefit. That's not a small difference. Over 20 or 30 years of retirement, that's tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands, of dollars. The right time to claim depends on health, income needs, and whether there's a spouse to consider. But the default of claim at 62 because that's when it's available leaves a lot of money behind. Use the Social Security Benefits Estimator on SSA.gov to see how different claiming ages would affect monthly payments. It takes 5 minutes and could change the entire retirement income picture. Step 8. Plan for healthcare, because it's going to be expensive. Here's the retirement cost that surprises people the most every single time: healthcare. Most people assume Medicare covers everything. It doesn't. According to Fidelity Investments, a 65-year-old who retired in 2024 can expect to spend close to $165,000 on healthcare out of pocket throughout retirement. That number is for an average person. Someone with ongoing health conditions could spend significantly more. Medicare is available starting at age 65. But there are different parts. Part A covers hospital care. Part B covers outpatient care. Part D covers prescription drugs. And none of it is completely free. There are premiums, deductibles, and copays that add up month after month. On top of that, More than 70% of Americans will need some form of long-term care at some point: a nursing home, assisted living facility, or in-home care. According to Reader's Digest, this is a separate category from regular health care, and it gets very expensive very fast. The practical planning here: look into a health savings account, HSA, if currently enrolled in a high-deductible health plan. An HSA is one of the most tax-advantaged tools available. Contributions are tax-deductible, growth is tax-free, and withdrawals for medical expenses are also tax-free. It can be invested and grown over time specifically for healthcare in retirement. Consider long-term care insurance, ideally in the 50s before premiums get high. This kind of policy can help cover the cost of a facility or home care without wiping out retirement savings. And when budgeting for retirement, build in a healthcare cushion. Don't just plan for the average, plan for something higher. Step 9. Revisit and adjust the plan regularly. Here's something that trips people up. They make a retirement plan once and think they're done. But a retirement plan isn't a one-time document. It's a living thing that needs to be looked at regularly. Life changes, income changes, expenses change, the market changes, tax laws change. Any of those things can throw off a plan that was fine 2 years ago. According to Hickory Point Bank's 2024 Retirement Guide, reviewing the retirement plan regularly, especially after major life events like marriage, divorce, having kids, a job change, or a health issue, is critical to staying on track. Most financial planners suggest reviewing retirement savings and investment allocation at least once a year, not to panic about short-term market moves, but to make sure the strategy still lines up with the timeline and the goals. As retirement gets closer, say within 10 years, it generally makes sense to shift toward a more conservative investment mix. More bonds, fewer high-risk stocks. The goal shifts from growing money to protecting it. According to Vision Retirement, reducing the percentage of stocks held in retirement accounts as someone gets older helps reduce the risk of a major market drop wiping out savings right before they're needed. Retirement calculators can help model different scenarios. What if the market drops 20% right before retirement? What if healthcare costs more than expected? Running those numbers ahead of time means fewer surprises later. Step 10. Consider working with a financial advisor. But go in smart. The last step is about getting help, but knowing what kind of help to look for. A financial advisor can be incredibly valuable for retirement planning. They can look at the full picture, help optimize investment choices, run tax strategies, and build a plan that accounts for specific goals and life circumstances. But here's the honest truth. Not all financial advisors operate the same way. Some are fiduciaries, meaning they're legally required to act in the client's best interest. Others are not, meaning they can recommend products that pay them a higher commission even if those products aren't the best fit. The recommendation from multiple financial experts, including those referenced in Trinity College's Retirement Guide, is to look for a fee-only fiduciary financial advisor. These advisors charge a flat fee or hourly rate, not commissions from investment products, so the advice they give is less likely to have conflicts of interest. If hiring an advisor isn't in the budget, there are still great free resources. SSA.gov has free tools for Social Security planning. AARP offers free retirement calculators and planning checklists. Vanguard, Fidelity, and Schwab all have online retirement planning tools that don't require opening an account to use. The bottom line: retirement planning is not something to do alone if there's help available. But going in with the knowledge covered in this video means walking into any conversation with an advisor already informed, and that makes a huge difference.